Good morning, students. Today we are going to start a new chapter that is again from your book Hornbill. And the name of the chapter is We Are Not Afraid to Die If We Can All Be Together. And this is written by Gordon Cook and Ellen East. And in this chapter, we are going to read the story of a man who was a businessman and he was 37 years old and he had a family. He had a wife, two children, and all the family members, they were very passionate about journey, and they wanted to go around the world. They wanted to go for a sea journey, and that would be called in this chapter as voyage, because whenever you go through water, whenever you go by water for a journey, it is generally called as voyage. So these people, they are very passionate to go around the world, and they wanted to start a journey. They wanted to visit different places. They want to take a round of the world with each other. So I'm going to start with the first line of the chapter and the first paragraph. The paragraph says, in July 1976, my wife Mary, son Jonathan, 6, daughter Suzanne, 7, and I set sail from Plymouth, England, to duplicate the round the world voyage made 200 years earlier by Captain James Cook. Now, what they are going to do, they actually wanted to start a journey, and the family has been described here as the wife of this man whose name was Mary, and there was a son whose name was Jonathan. He was only 6 years old. Then there was a daughter this family was having, and the daughter's name was Suzanne, and she was only 7 years old. And I here means the narrator, means that businessman who was 37 years old. And these four people, Mary, her husband, and her two children, they actually wanted to start, you can say, a journey from Plymouth, England, to duplicate the round the world voyage. Duplicate here means they actually wanted to copy the same thing that was done. So 200 years ago, there was a man whose name was Captain James Cook. He had gone for the same journey to round the world voyage. He had gone for that, and these people, this family, also wanted to copy. They wanted to duplicate the same thing after 200 years. In 1976 they decided to do this. For the longest time, Mary and I, a 37-year-old businessman, had dreamt of sailing in the wake of the famous explorer, and for the past 16 years, we had spent all our leisure time owning our seafaring skills in British waters. This is very important now. This phrase that is written in bold letters, owning our seafaring skills. Owning here means sharpening. To develop something is called as owning. And what they actually wanted to do for last 16 years, this family, because they wanted to do the same thing that was done by that famous explorer Captain James Cook. So these people, this family, was actually preparing themselves, and they were owning, they were sharpening, they were developing their, you can say, their skill related to the sea. And seafaring skill here means the things which you want to develop, the skill that you want to develop regarding the sea in British waters. Our boat, Wave Walker, a 23-meter, 30-ton wooden hulled beauty, had been professionally built, and we had spent months fitting it out and testing it in the roughest weather we could find. Now this is very important, that these people, they made a boat and they called it Wave Walker. Wave Walker is the name of the boat. And this Wave Walker, this boat, was 23-meter long, and 30-meter ton was the weight of that boat, and it was wooden hulled. Hulled here means the bottom part. So the bottom part of the boat was made up of wood. Had been professionally built. It was professionally built, very well planned ship very well made ship, and we had spent months fitting it out. And for so many months they were trying to fit all the instruments, all the tools related to it, and they were trying to make a very good, you can say, very they wanted to make it strengthened, they wanted to make it very strong, and testing it in the roughest weather we could find. And they were trying to you can say test it in different kind of weathers, in different situations they were trying to test it. The first leg of our planned 3-year 1,05,000 kilometer journey passed pleasantly as we sailed down the west coast of Africa to Cape Town. Now when they started their long journey, that was going to take maybe around 3 years. And the first part of their journey, that was 1,05,000 kilometers, it went very, you can say, pleasantly. It was a very happy journey till this point. As we sailed down the west coast of Africa, when they actually reached South Africa and they were going from Cape Town to the other side now, till this point they had a very pleasant, very happy, very peaceful journey. There, before heading east, we took on 2 crewmen, American Larry Vigil and Swiss Herb Siegler. These 2 names are very important because these 2 people who were, the first one was Larry Vigil, who was an American, and the second one was Herb Siegler, and he belonged to Switzerland. So this American and this Swiss, these 2 people, they were hired by this family. Why they hired, this is very important to understand, because this family knew that they were actually going towards the southern Indian Ocean, and southern Indian Ocean is one of the roughest ocean in the world, and they knew that they needed somebody who should be very experienced, who should know how to tackle different difficult situations in oceans. So that is why they actually hired 2 people. One was Larry Vigil, who was an American, and another was a Swiss native, and his name was Herb Siegler. So Larry Vigil and Herb Siegler, they were taken, and now they were going towards the roughest seas in the world, and the name of this sea was Southern Indian Ocean. Page number 14. On our second day out of Cape Town, we began to encounter strong gales. Now this is very important to understand that what is the meaning of gale here. Gale means strong, extremely strong winds would be called as gales. So on the second day from Cape Town, they were actually going towards the, you can say, other side, towards east, and they started facing very strong winds. For the next few weeks, they blew continuously. For so many days, these gales, these winds, they were blowing continuously with very much speed. Gales did not worry me. Now, the narrator, who was 37 years old businessman, he has told us that he did not worry. He was not worried about the gales, about the strong winds, but the size of the waves was alarming. But the size of those waves was really, you can say, alarming here means frightening. It was really dangerous to see, because the size of the waves was up to 15 meters. Up to 15 meters, these waves were going high in the sky, as high as their main mast was. Mast is the main central pole of the ship. So till the, you can say, highest point of this mast, these waves were, you can say, going up in the air. December 25 found us 3,500 kilometers east of Cape Town. Now they were going away from the Cape Town towards the Indian Ocean, Southern Indian Ocean, and they had, you can say, they had a journey of 3,500 kilometers towards east. Despite atrocious weather, this is again a very important word. What is the meaning of atrocious here? Atrocious means very bad, terrible weather. So in spite of the facts that the weather was very bad, we had a wonderful holiday complete with a Christmas tree. But they were enjoying their journey, and maybe they enjoyed Christmas also. They had a Christmas tree on the ship. New Year's Day saw no improvement in the weather, and after some days it was 1st Jan or maybe 31st December, and they had a very good New Year's Day also. But we reasoned that it had to change soon, and it did change for the worse. And then they thought, they actually hoped that maybe after some days the situation would become better. But it was not actually going from good to better, but it was actually going from bad to worse. Next paragraph. At dawn. What is the meaning of at dawn? Dawn here means the early morning, maybe after sunrise, or maybe before sunrise sometimes. At dawn means early morning on 2nd January. The waves were gigantic. Again, a very important word, gigantic. What is the meaning of gigantic here? Very huge. So the waves were very huge, very gigantic. We were sailing with only a small storm jib and were still making 8 knots. Now this date is very important here. 2nd January. On 2nd January, they were hit by strong waves. Gigantic waves were actually coming towards their ship. We were sailing with only a small storm jib and were still making 8 knots. 8 knots is the speed of the ship. 8 nautical miles, you can say, per hour is the, or was the speed of the ship. And they only had very, you can say, small things with them, or they were not totally highly equipped, because they had a very small storm jib to handle such storms or such huge waves. So means they were, you can say, ill, you can say they were not having all the equipments to handle such huge waves. As the ship rose to the top of each wave, we could see endless, enormous seas rolling towards us, and the screaming of the wind and spray was painful to the ears. Now they actually had very strong sound coming towards their ears. There were enormous here means very huge sea waves were coming towards them, and the screaming of the wind, screaming here means a lot of sound was being created by the wind, and a lot of, you can say, water was coming towards them. To slow the boat down, we dropped the storm jib. Now they actually made a plan. They thought that the best way to handle this storm was to slow down the ship. So they had to drop the storm jib. Jib here means a kind of, you can say, brake. So they had a storm jib, and this storm jib would slow down the ship. So they dropped the storm jib into the sea. Jib means brake. And lashed a heavy mooring rope in a loop across the stern. Stern is the back part of the ship, and what they did, lashed here means they tied. They tied a heavy mooring, a very strong, very thick rope was actually taken to, and it was tied with the back part of the ship. Then we double lashed everything. Then they did what? They double lashed here means double tied everything, went through oil raft drill, attached lifelines, donned oilskins and life jackets, and waited. And this is very important questions answer, because this is the answer that how they wanted to prevent, how they wanted to take some action against the storm which was going to hit them. So what was their preliminary, you can say, status, and what they wanted to do against the storm. So how they wanted to prevent. So these were the prevented measures taken by them. They double lashed everything with, went through their life raft drill. Life raft drill here means they had their boats, and they actually took out those boats, then attached themselves with the lifelines. Lifelines here means they were actually trying to tie themselves with the ropes which were attached with the ship. Then donned here means they started wearing. They wore oilskins. Oilskins here mean waterproof clothes. So waterproof clothes were donned. Donned means they wore oilskins and life jackets also, and waited. Now they prepared themselves like this. They double tied everything. They had life raft drill with them. They attached lifelines or ropes with their bodies. They equipped themselves with oilskins or maybe waterproof clothes, and life jackets were worn by them. And they waited for the storm to hit them. The first indication of impending disaster, impending here means imminent, IMMINENT. Imminent here means the coming, the upcoming disaster. Disaster means the danger. The first indication of impending disaster came at about 6 p.m. Means they were actually hit by these waves at 6 p.m. And the date was very important, 2nd January. With an ominous silence. This is very, very important phrase. And the phrase is ominous silence. Ominous means inauspicious. Means something evil. Kuch bura. So there was silence, but it was not good. It was having something inauspicious related to it. It was an evil. You can say ominous silence. The wind dropped, and after some time they found that wind dropped means wind stopped moving at all, and the sky immediately grew dark. And then they found that in the sky they could see something, and it was really dark. Then came a growing roar, and an enormous cloud towered aft of the ship. Then what they saw, then came a growing roar. Growing roar means a lot of sound was actually coming towards them, and an enormous cloud towered aft at the ship. And they saw that there was a huge, enormous means a huge cloud was to be seen over the ship. With horror, I realized that it was not a cloud, but a wave like no other I had ever seen. Then the narrator told us that when he actually saw towards the sky up in the air, he found that it was not a cloud. It seemed to be a cloud, but actually there was a huge big wave that was going towards the sky, and it would come towards them after some time. It appeared perfectly vertical and almost twice the height of the other waves, with a frightful breaking crest. And now they understood that this was not a cloud. It was a lot of, you can say, a lot of water was coming in the form of a wave, and it was coming downwards now in a straight line. Vertically it was coming, and it created an unpleasant, you can say, atmosphere everywhere. Next paragraph. The roar increased to a thunder as the stern moved up the face of the wave, and for a moment I thought we might ride over it. And then these people thought, or maybe this narrator, 37-year-old businessman, he thought that maybe he would be able to get out of the storm. And what is written? The roar increased means the sound increased to a thunder as the stern means the back part of the ship, moved up the face of the wave. And for a moment he thought they might ride over it, but then a tremendous explosion shook the deck. He thought that they would have their escape, but he was wrong, because a tremendous explosion means a very, you can say, strong bang shook the deck. Means their deck, the floor of the ship was banged by a lot of water that hit it. A torrent of green, torrent means a large amount of water that looked green. Hare rang ka pani tha almost, and white water broke over the ship. White and green colored water, it actually broke means it hit the ship. My head smashed into the wheel, and I was aware of flying overboard and sinking below the waves. And he was aware because he was hit badly by the water and he got overboard. This is very important. He flew overboard means he actually was thrown into the ocean. He was no more on the ship. This narrator was thrown by the big waves into the sea and sinking below the waves. And he was going to sink. वो डूब रहा है बुरी तरीके से. I accepted my approaching death, and I was losing consciousness also. I felt quite peaceful. He thought, this is very important. In so many chapters, this is written that whenever somebody is going to face with death, they actually find that death is not dangerous, death is very peaceful state. जैसे मरना बहुत easy हो और बहुत शांतिपूर्ण हो. So he actually found himself inside the sea, inside water, and he thought that he was going to lose consciousness. Losing conscious means he was going giddy, वो बेहोश हो रहा है, and he at the same time found that death was quite peaceful. Unexpectedly, my head popped out of the water. Unexpectedly, what actually happened? He found that his head started popping. Popped here means that his head was coming out of the water unexpectedly. And a few meters away, wave walker was near capsizing. This is again very important word, capsizing. Capsizing here means that the ship was turning upside down, means the ship was actually going vertically into the water. Her masts almost horizontal. Then a wave hurled her upright. Then he saw that another wave came and the ship again got his position back on the water. My lifeline jerked taut, and because he was having that lifeline, that rope attached with his body, and the other end was attached with the ship, I grabbed means he took hold of the guardrails and sailed through the air into Wavewalker's main boom. And unexpectedly, what actually happened? He was again thrown out of the water by another wave, and he found himself again on the deck, on the floor of the Wavewalker. Subsequent waves tossed me around the deck like a rag doll, and when he was thrown from the sea to the ship again, he found himself thrown like a rag doll. उसको ऐसे उठा के फेंका उस लहर ने जैसे कि he was not a human being but he was a rag doll, like a doll, एक गुड़िया की तरह. My left ribs cracked, but when he found himself back on the ship, he was totally badly, brutally injured. His ribs were broken. This was the bad situation of, or maybe he was badly injured when he was thrown back. His ribs were cracked, his mouth was filled with blood, and teeth were broken. Somehow I found the wheel, lined up the stern for the next wave and hung on. But still, look at the courage, look at the intensity of passion for this journey, that this man, even after having his ribs cracked, even after having his teeth broken, this man with full, you can say, the mouth, you can say, full of blood, he still somehow managed to get the wheel. He went to the wheel, he tried to control the ship and for the next wave and hung on, and he waited for the next wave to come. Water everywhere. I could feel that the ship had water below, but I dared not abandon the wheel to investigate. Means he knew that a lot of water was coming inside the ship because the ship was badly damaged and a lot of water was coming from different holes which were made by different waves. But he could not, you can say, leave the wheel behind because he wanted to control the ship and he wanted somebody to you can say control the wheel or control the ship. So he could not dare to abandon here means he could not leave the wheel to investigate means he wanted to go and investigate that what was the situation, what was the you can say what was the condition of the ship, but he could not leave that place and he stayed there. Suddenly, what actually happened, this is page number 15. The front hatch was thrown open and Mary reappeared. Mary is the name of his wife. So then he saw that one of the hatch covers, hatch here means door. There is a door in the deck and it was thrown open. It got opened and he saw that his wife was still there, just in front of him. We are sinking, she screamed. Screamed here means she started what? She started yelling or shouting. She shouted that they were sinking, कि हम डूब रहे हैं. She wanted to tell the critical situation of the ship because it was badly broken. The decks are smashed and we are full of water. She wanted to tell all these things to her husband. Take the wheel, I shouted as I scrambled for the hatch. Scrambled here means he moved quickly for the hatch because he actually wanted to the door and he wanted his wife to come and take the wheel and control the ship for some time because he wanted to go and investigate and check the condition of the ship. Larry and Vigil, Larry and Herb were pumping like madmen. And these two people who were hired from where? They were hired from South Africa. And these two people, why they were hired? Because this family knew that they wanted somebody with a lot of experience because they knew that they were going into the roughest of the condition, roughest of the seas, and that is why these people, they were, you can say, very useful. And these two people, Larry and Herb Ziegler, they were pumping like madmen. They were pumping what? They were pumping the water out of the ship. They had some pumps with them. Broken timbers hung at crazy angles. Broken timbers means the sides of the ship which were made of wood, timber. So which was made of wood, they were totally broken. And the whole starboard means the right side of the ship, it was bulged inwards. Bulged here means that it was actually, you can say, bumped towards the inner side. Clothes, crockery, charts, tins and toys sloshed about in deep water. Sloshed here means they were moving. All these things, this was the bad condition that has been described by the writer here. He has written that broken timbers were to be seen. The whole starboard side was bulged inside, and there were a lot of things which were actually moving in the seawater on the ship. Clothes, crockery, charts, tins, toys. They were sloshing. Sloshing means they were moving about in the deep water of the ship. I half swam, half crawled into the children's cabin. Are you all right? I asked. Yes, they answered from an upper bunk. And then he wanted to investigate. He wanted to see whether the children were safe or not. So he went downwards. And when he reached the children's cabin, he asked these children, were they all right or not? I asked. And they replied, yes. They answered from an upper bunk. But my head hurts a bit, said Sue, pointing to a big bump over her eyes. But Sue, who was only 7 years old, Sue's actual name is Suzanne. So Suzanne or Sue, she told her father that she had a, you can say, injury on her head, and she was having a bumping head. I had no time to worry about bumped heads, but he replied, or maybe he actually said this fact to himself, that he could not look after the children at that time. He just wanted to see whether they were safe or not, and then he had to look after a lot of things. He had to go back. After finding a hammer, screws and canvas, I struggled back. What he had done now, after finding a hammer was found by him, he got some screws and canvas. Canvas is very important word here. Canvas means a kind of cloth, or maybe like tarpaul. So he got that canvas, that waterproof cloth, and secure here means he wanted to block the waterproof hatch covers across the gaping holes. Means he wanted to block the very wide holes which were made by the waves, because waves had hit the ship badly, and a lot of, you can say, holes were to be seen from where a lot of water was coming inside. So these holes are to be, you can say, secured. They had to be blocked. Some water continued to stream below, but most of it was now being deflected over the side. So somehow he got that canvas on the, or maybe waterproof hatch covers were, you can say, applied by this man on the holes, and a lot of water was getting deflected now. It was not coming inside the ship. He blocked those holes. More problems arose. when our hand pumps started to block up with the debris. This is again a very important word. Debris क्या होता है? Debris here means you can say pieces of wood or garbage, जिसको हम कूड़ा करकट बोलते हैं, या मलबा. So a lot of garbage, a lot of, you can say, different pieces of wood or different things, they were actually coming and they blocked the hand pumps. So hand pumps stopped working, and Herb Siegler and Larry Vigil, they were not able to pump the water out, and cabins and electric pump short circuited. And what actually happened there, there was another problem that was faced by these people, that the electric pumps, these electric pumps, they were not working because they got short circuited, and the hand pumps, they started to block. So this actually was a great problem for them, because hand pumps were not, hand pumps started to block and electric pumps short circuited. The water level rose threateningly. Back on deck, I found that our two spare hand pumps had been wrenched overboard, along with the forestay sail, the jib, the dinghies, and the main anchor. So this man again came back. This 37-year-old businessman came back to the deck again, and he found that the water level was really increasing threateningly. And when he came back, he found that their two spare hand pumps had been wrenched overboard. Wrenched here means they were pulled, you can say, back, and he wanted to repair those two hand pumps which were not working, along with the forestay sail. Forestay sail here means the front stay sail. Stay sails means a kind of brake. And the jib and the dinghies. Dinghies are the small ships. And the main anchor. Anchor again means very heavy iron that would be put inside the water to slow down the ship sometimes. Then I remembered we had another electric pump under the chart room floor. I connected it to an out pipe and was thankful to find that it worked. Then what actually happened? He went to the chart room. He actually remembered that there was another electric pump in the ship. And he went into the chart room. He got that electric pump, and that, you can say, electric hand pump, it started working unexpectedly, because he thought that it would be out of work. It could be faulty. The night dragged on with an endless, bitterly cold routine of pumping, steering, and working the radio. Now, these three things were done by these people continuously for last many hours. They were doing nothing. It was a bitter cold routine. Cold routine means there was nothing new. These people, they were doing the same thing and they were totally exhausted. एक ही काम घंटों से, कई घंटों से, आधे दिन से, कोई पौने दिन से, they were doing the same thing. They were pumping, they were steering. Steering means they were controlling the ship with the wheel, and they were working with the radio. Radio means they were trying to get with, you can say, they wanted to contact the other people. They wanted to contact with the calls, with the radio calls, with the, you can say, with the phone calls. We were getting no replies to our mayday calls, but those radio calls were not getting connected because they were at the, you can say, very remote corner of the world, because they were in a place, in a very rural area, or maybe they were in an area where those calls would never be connected, which was not surprising in this remote corner of the world. Sue's head had swollen. Alarmingly, she had two enormous black eyes. And what actually happened? Now she showed us a deep cut on her arm. When I asked why she had not made more of her injuries before this, she replied, I did not want to worry you when you were trying to save us all. This is very important paragraph, because in this paragraph we have come to know that how, you can say, aware and how courageous, how strong, how bold these children were, because that Sue, who was only 7 years old girl, old daughter of this man, her head was swollen. But she had two enormous black eyes also, means her eyes were swollen, and now she showed us, means showed them a deep cut on her arm. Not only she had a bumpy head, not only her eyes were swollen, but she had a deep cut on her arm also. She was badly injured. When the father asked that why those injuries were not told or were not shown by her before, this 7-year-old girl replied she did not want to worry her father when they were trying to save them all, because her father and her mother, they were trying to save all the, you can say, lives of the family members. She, as a girl, as a daughter, she felt her responsibility and she did not want to worry them. She did not want to worry her parents because they were trying to save the lives of these people. So this is the end of maybe the first part of the story, and we'll continue in the next class. Till then, take care of yourself, stay back at home, stay safe. Thank you very much.